We find ourselves here now with the sacred breath, that it has completely consumed us, that we are living, breathing suns, brighter than our own logi of our own central sun. For this light comes from the sun behind the sun behind the sun. And this illumined sun, whose frequency is pure and gracious, loving and wise, filters in through the hearts and minds of the children of light upon the earth who have not forgotten. It comes in through the heart's dreaming. It comes in through the pulse of your soul. It comes in the deepest part that prays for a world of peace. It comes in through the kindness of strangers. It comes in a reassuring smile. It comes in a look of acknowledgement of the divinity within each other. This gracious sun behind a sun behind a sun emanation comes in beyond the great suns of Alcyon. And so we find ourselves here now in this moment, completely infused in this emanating white golden light from the sun behind the sun behind the sun. And as we are immersed in this divine and sacred communion, we can sense and feel and see our own higher light garments, our own light bodies. We can see it as it integrates into our physical bodies, mental and emotional, a sacred holy communion between our higher self and our earthly selves, between heaven and between earth. And we hold the embodiment of this sacred communion. And as we embrace this, we remember our capacity to hold love and light is boundless. And so we take our positions as these magnificent bodies of great light. And as great transducers and transmitters of this sacred divine energy, this sacred grace that pours in this moment, we open our hearts of unconditional love and compassion and receive this blessing, receive this sacred grace. And all we can sense now of ourselves is ourselves as these light bodies, these great bodies of light, like our own sun and the sun behind the sun, an emanation of light that is beyond measure, beyond description, And we find ourselves in this holy, sacred moment being part of this, integrating it, processing it into our own physical, mental, and emotional bodies, into the denser parts of ourselves from the highest part of ourselves, piercing through the illusions and the delusions of a physical, mental, and emotional world, piercing through the distortions and the distractions, piercing through the imbalances, the miscreations, piercing through the sadness and the suffering, piercing through the fears and loneliness, piercing through all that is not of this magnificent light, coming from the undulating waveforms of unconditional love. It is the highest of the cosmic Christ consciousness, the highest of the divine sacred Maitreya, the reconnection of heaven and earth, the reconnection of the upper worlds to this lower world. And so we simply continue breathing and aware of the preciousness and the divinity of the breath. For it is through this breath, this divine interweaving of higher light strands, higher crystalline energy, integrating with where we are in this moment in our consciousness, to bring us to the higher parts of ourselves and break through the limitations and the distortions, that we can see with great clarity. We can see with this light that comes from the sun behind the sun, piercing through the distortions, the confusion. We can see clearly as we, illumined light, shows the path and our steps. It clears, it purifies, it balances, and it anchors peace. So our path is clear, our decisions are sure, our wisdom is anchored from the highest part of ourselves. And this is our affirmation. This is our intention as our physical, mental, and emotional bodies are flooded with this light, the sun behind the sun behind the sun. As we breathe each and every holy, sacred in-breath and integrate this loving grace deep into the core of our being, even as we walk an earthly path, bringing into clarity our purpose, our mission, our agreement, and our sacred divine partnerships, to bring forth the divine plan upon this sacred planet and all of her life. And we sense and feel our own illumined state continuing to rise in frequency, continuing to radiate with an luminosity that cannot be described in earthly words. This loving, powerful, omnipresent light is infused within us and around us. We are one with it, and it is one with us. And coming from this great stance of consciousness, of an illumined light being, being a radiant one, in the highest service to the divine and in service to our great Earth Mother and all of her life. We are clear, we are strong, and we are anchored in our divine path, mission, and purpose. And as sun brings light to darkness, so too the very emanation of the light that is being held brings light to darkness, confusion, fear, sadness, and suffering. It is this light to now do away and resolve with those frequencies, those energies of expression that are no longer needed. That a great and new earth is upon us, and we are the co-creators of this great earth, this new higher frequency expression of our divine Earth Mother, that she is freed from the shackles of the lower thought forms and the chaos, that she can be brought out of the darkness and into the light as she carries all life. And as we hold this intention for her, as we are the children of the earth who hold the frequency of the higher light, the higher vision, the higher purpose. And we bask in this radiant light with grateful hearts as it courses through all parts of our beingness, through all dimensions and all realms, through all lifetimes, through all expressions, past, present, future, through all timelines. We hold this divine radiance of the divine. We hold the Christ light, the divine Maitreya. We hold and open portals of light and expand portals of light. We are as a million suns holding this great power, holding this great light, as the very archangels and angelic ones and all radiant ones come and see this brilliant light in this season of light. We continue to shine bright, and the brilliance cannot be stopped. And it moves in all directions, and the higher thoughts, the higher light, the higher wisdom moves and pierces through all blockages, all delusions, all illusions, all miscreations. We see in the brilliance of where we are, our Earth Mother, the blue pearl, and the end of our own Milky Way galaxy, we see her sun and her moon, and we see from the higher perspective of this light. And our intention and attention is now upon her. And as we see her move, evolve and revolve around her own logi, our own sun, from this higher light suns that we now purposefully, totally engaged, send this light that we are into our Earth Mother, into our own sun, into our moon. That divine, sacred, holy harmony of the original thought of this precious creation comes back into the higher alignment of her higher purpose, vision, and ascension. That the world of duality and chaos now begins to leave. That the new earth is upon the horizon and is now resurrecting once again. And in the upper worlds, there is such joy, a great welcoming for the rising sun, the rising star of our own Earth Mother and all of her life, as well as the celestial ones who evolve and evolve with her around the great Vesta Helios. That the entire solar system rises up in frequency, in yearning to connect with the light of the sun, behind the sun, behind the sun. And so we radiate our brilliance as we are her children, and we now hold the upper worlds and her. And we bring forth through our own intention, through our own creative process, through our own word and vibration, our love for her and the light that we bring to clean and clear, to heal and to balance all of her kingdoms, the mineral kingdom, the plant kingdom, the animal kingdom, and the human kingdom. We bring our intention focused on the human condition. And we shine our light upon all who suffer, all who are in fear, all who are bound and constricted. That this great light pierces through the darkness. This divine sacred light brings the alchemy of love, liberation, and healing, of peace, of joy, of happiness. This light is so bright, so magnificent, so radiant, that those that are not of the light cannot impede it, cannot stop it, cannot block it. for there is no going back. We are rising and we are ascending, and our path is clear, clearer and clearer and clearer. And we know as we stay, as we focus on our path of light, the way will be shown. Dear beloveds, know that this divine sacred grace that has poured in, this illumined light that has integrated into your own physical, mental, and emotional bodies and all aspects of your being, anchors and resides within you, there to expand and to grow as you walk your path of light, that your way will be shown, that the light will pierce confusion, indecision, that clarity will begin to unfold as you integrate and anchor more deeply this light, that your sacred holy wisdom will flower and unfold, and clarity anchored in your choices and your decisions. We take these few moments here now to consciously note the frequency of this illumined radiant light, and the reconnecting, the re-establishing, the re-threading of our higher illumined selves, our higher garments of light, more integrated and weaved into the physical, mental, and emotional body, even as we walk this physical, mental, and emotional world. As we walk the path of light to dispel darkness, confusion, and pain. And as we could stay in this state seemingly forever, we know we must return. And with that return, we simply breathe the sacred in-breath and out-breath with the intention of returning slowly and easily, because already all those who have participated, they are drawing in their electromagnetic field, and this divine sacred source now moves to its source, to the sun behind the sun, behind the sun, but leaves its essence with us, still integrating into our physical, mental, and emotional bodies. We take note of the perfect balance and the sense of unshakable peace, where we have come into sacred and divine alignment, and that this is accessible to us at any time and as needed through the sacred in-breath and out-breath. Remember this light with the white core emanating golden light from the sun, behind the sun, behind the sun, holding the magnificence of the Christ light and divine Maitreya. And now, as we look one more time of our sacred earth, that the emanation of this light continues in her, through her, and around her, as it does with us in the next days to come. We intend to be back into our physical, mental, and emotional bodies. We intend to be grounded. On the count of 3, we will be back, awake, alert, and anchored, and grounded. 1, 2, take a deep breath in. And 3, we are back, awake, alert, and we are very, very grounded.